Uh, you'll see me. My hair's a little shorter. I'm looking like I'm ready to go to a tropical paradise. Actually, uh, I am going to be going to Hawaii, to the island of Maui, for a good week. So, yeah, we had to get a couple things resolved. I can go in peace, and hopefully, there's a little tranquility, and we're gonna whale watch and all that kind of good stuff. So, I'll be back on the 15th or 16th, depending on how things go. And yeah, very exciting uh, stuff personally for me. I'm gonna bring Omar in just a couple minutes to go over what in the heck went down with being paused for about 3.5 days. What the dev team, what prompted that type of extreme measure, what the dev team accomplished in a short amount of time, uh, why why this was necessary to take such extreme action, because pausing the contract isn't something we did lightly, and it unfortunately is, it pauses pretty much everything that's done, but it does allow us to do things. We were able to push some new proxies up, introduce some new lines of code, some new functions into the contract to pave the way. So we'll go over that briefly, like what all we added, why we've just figured we'd take opportunity. If it was going to be paused, we had basically one side of the dev team was working on patching what we'll call the hole, and the other side of the dev team was working on, and while the car's pulled over, let's change the oil, let's rotate the tires, let's do all those type of things. So and then let's put a new fuel manifold or something, or exhaust manifold. Let's improve it to so that we don't have to ever, not ever, but so to minimize further downtime, to enhance for the upcoming ecosystem. So yeah, we took advantage of the downtime, and we had to test thoroughly to make sure, because when it comes to security, there's pretty much perfect, or there's open. So there's no middle ground, like it's good enough. That's not the way things operate. So yeah, what's up, Red Rebel? How you doing, man? So we're gonna go into some of the details about what the dev team, the lack of sleep that they got, which I was able to sleep like a baby, knowing that they were at the helm. And I kind of want to talk, especially those that view this video later. We get people that hop in and talk about renouncing ownership, and we're adamant that no, we're at the helm of this thing, and which can be a good thing and a bad thing. If you trust a team, this is why it's a good thing, is because instead of being powerless to do something, instead of just sitting back and watching, we can take a much more active approach to minimize damage. We can eliminate, we can recover, we can do so many things that other, even big organizations, are honestly just kind of, they just got to kind of watch things unfold. And so I'm bringing in Omar now. We're going to go into some details. I'll ask him questions, and we'll do a question and answer, and then you guys can ask us questions. Everyone can question everyone. So, wow, I look so white compared to you. I mean, you're definitely darker than me, but I look like apparition white. So,
Don't even know what that's for.
first things first, Saturday, we noticed some irregularities and
Yeah.
some
There-
intrusion,
Yeah,
basically.
there was, yeah, Lola was first of all complaining about, she just couldn't keep up with.
We got
this.
alerted.
A couple of alerts, and we looked at one of our servers. So we eventually dug into the server and noticed that one of our development servers, the pointers. We normally go from our development servers. We push our pointers over to our production servers. One of the pointers was still on our development server and had been there for a while. And we noticed that one server got compromised.
Yep.
So they were able to get access to a couple wallets.
And then the second that happened, is like, is this a possible thing where we should pause right away and not take chances? And the call was made to better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
On that type situation, because at the end of the day, like, yes, this is our livelihood. This is our baby.
Yeah.
You know, this is our investment. This is your investment. This is something that
we protect our holders. We protect our investment, and pausing it was the immediate thing to do. And I was
so then was kind of like, okay, once you see something, you got your red flag. You got okay, let's pause. We can always unpause. Then you do a deep dive and you see potentially how far the rabbit hole goes, what other avenues this opens up, what other systems could have been compromised if they have any leeway into those, which of those are just super precautionary versus which are real. And you kind of like, you're like, okay, if anyone got in here, what would that affect? If anyone got in there, what are the likelihood? Should we make some adjustments on the back end, shift some things just in case? And that was a lot of time spent. Yeah. What I would call not fixing, because at that point,
we were planning on just patching it up and just pausing for a bit, patching it up. But you know, we're already paused. I mean, pausing already looks bad to some people on
the optics.
The optics were not good. So
No.
we go, okay, let's take the chance to go through the entire system, do some of the things we wanted to do anyways, and just pause it and unpause it.
So yeah, they while they had it down, they didn't do just like we gave it a good once over and it's clean bill of health. No, they went through like
everything, every one of our computers. Internally, we
have a lot of systems.
All of our servers. We have, I would say right now, probably like 36 different servers that we run.
Yeah, people are like, how much does it take to actually run all these different?
A lot of, and then internally we have a bunch of computers. We had to make sure that none of those were compromised.
Every station.
Yeah. Then we had to go through the code line by line on all of our servers and lock down, make sure every one of our every IP log,
databases,
all the databases were locked out. So, I mean,
encryption to and from.
Just that took like a whole day and a half, and this is working 24 hours a day. We didn't.
I did not work 24/7. I was there as I had pom poms, and I was there as a cheerleader. Yay, go dev team! You guys are doing great.
Yeah.
So that's a really tedious process to do right, especially with a smaller team where we
don't have 1,000 people working on just our server clusters.
You look at big organizations. Like I pulled up. Let me go to browser view real quick. I pulled up Binance. Now Binance has thousands of employees. They got dedicated people to prevent hacks. They got people monitoring everything 24/7, the whole 9 yards. They're not a small operation. They've got the biggest exchange. They got a huge blockchain that's got more tokens than anybody else. I mean, it is insane what they have resource-wise. But they still got hacked last year for over $500 million is what they got hacked last year. So it doesn't matter how many resources you have. because if anything, more resources, more hands in the cookie bowl, can people create different intrusion points. So the advantage we have, I just brought that up on a browser just to show the advantage that we have is very few hands in the cookie bowl. We have lots of accountability in terms of who has access, and it's very, very restricted. And I would say security is I mean, top notch. Yeah. It wasn't our contract our contract is really, really solid. Our contract was never. We still don't have a security audit, which I just got a quote from Hacken.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. We're soliciting just to see security audits. What Hacken wants to charge $20,000, and their security audit is just the weakest.
It's a bunch of fluff, and
you go through the bullet points. You're like, yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's totally. They basically, the one thing they do is they go and they comb through your contract and they check the security. Well, everything else they list, all their bullet points are like, dude, you're just making it sound like you're trying to justify the huge price tag.
Optimizations. We'll do optimizations on gas optimizations.
Yeah, recommendations and this and that. It's like,
okay.
Bro. Now, gas is a huge freaking thing. It is like gas optimizations. Binance is crying out for some Anubit recovery tools. Yeah, I think.
You know what that honestly, I mean, for this intrusion, we pretty much didn't lose anything. No. We caught it pretty fast, and Binance lost $500 million.
We lost time.
Yeah, we lost time. And that was.
If we had a bigger team, I mean, combing through things is tedious.
Another thing that helped us is that we have not given up the
renounce ownership.
Otherwise, we couldn't have done anything. We couldn't have paused it, because once you renounce ownership, you can't make function calls that are owner based, and pausing contracts.
It basically it ties your hands behind your back.
So all you do is watch your stuff go at that point. If there's an intrusion or if something happens,
but you can renounce and then have limited functionality for certain things.
You can do certain.
But we're out of room on the contract.
There's no more room.
There's no more room. So even if you say, okay, I want to be a steward, but I'll renounce ownership. So I'm going to give myself certain tools that can be assigned. They're not ownership responsibility. They're a shepherd responsibility. So I'll be the shepherd of the sheep or whatever. You can build those functions in so you have limited recovery or options. But the problem is we have so much in our contract that any line of code puts us over.
Yeah. Yeah, so 24K. I mean, there's different ways to go around it, but then your contract gets more complex, and as your contract gets more complex, and you run into more security problems. Like there's different types of contracts. One called a diamond proxy, and a diamond proxy lets you create like a
proxy tree,
a bunch of contracts around it that each one does specific things.
We're not that. We're a universal proxy. Yeah. It's a simplified version. Yeah. Diamond proxy they're their own type of nightmare. Yeah. But we did add some lines of code. Yeah. So we had to delete some lines of code too. You had to clean it up.
I pulled out some of the automatic bounty stuff that we don't need anyways, because
we're doing it off chain.
It's still collecting the bounty, but we're going to do it off blockchain.
The core bounty functions are the collection of the bounty is the most important thing when it comes to the reward for the bounty. We had some code in there that we didn't turn it on anyway, just because the bounty wasn't big enough. Like, hey, I got 10 Anubits, yay! Mm-hmm. But we want the bounty to be a little more significant, and so we're now going to be doing bounty reward. Completely off blockchain. We're not going to do it within the smart contract. It's too costly.
It's too costly. It would cost so much gas just to run each time we run a bounty. It costs gas right now to add people to the bounty, to add to just check that user and add it into the bounty list.
Whereas the way the bounty system works fundamentally is it scans the addresses, it analyzes the balance of each address, and it weights each wallet with win percentage, and then it does a roll against each wallet to choose a winner, basically,
And that's
and it
not
has a
something-
chance not to choose a winner. It's so the first roll it does is there a winner today? If there is no winner today, which most days there's no winner, then it does nothing, and then the bounty just keeps accruing.
Yeah.
And the bounty is literally a wallet that's just accruing Anubits.
Which doing something like that on the blockchain is stupid. It's like the
Yeah.
blockchain is not made for that. It's glorified ledger. You don't run full programs on the blockchain.
No. Yeah. So then if it does choose, yes, today is a winner, then it goes to the list of wallets, and it uses the amount to weight. So someone that has 10 Anubits would have 10 times the chance of someone who has 1 Anubit proportionally. And then it calculates who the winner is based on. So obviously the more that you hold, the more you have a chance to win. There's some wallets that are omitted from the bounty that are not able to participate if they were, kind of like early adopters, just because it's an unfair advantage. But for the most part, general public who bought off PancakeSwap have all the same advantage. So, but let's get that's bounty stuff. So that was pulled out to make room for some additional merchant functions.
Yeah, we added some additional merchant functions because we're getting ready for the ecosystem to launch soon. So we made sure that those functions we needed for the ecosystem were in the contract and ready to go.
The 3 big things that are coming up is the user app coming up first. Second thing is merchant app, which is going to be coming up. I mean, if everything goes smooth, going to be coming up faster than people realize. And the third thing, which we've chosen a direction on, is we're going to be moving to our own blockchain. Now, it's not to say we're abandoning Binance. We're still going to be on the Binance Smart Chain. But what it does mean is fundamentally for the bulk of transactions, once we have our own blockchain, we're gonna be moving the transactions to our own blockchain where we control gas fees. So I've told Omar I want our gas for a transaction to be a fraction of a cent, and as a goal, and our merchants are going to be, they're going to have a huge stake. Our merchant network is going to be validators, so they all have a vested interest.
Every merchant we onboard will be a validator.
So they all have a vested interest in the integrity of the system.
They'll have the option to become a validator. Some mom and pops can.
If you're not a merchant, you can't become a validator. That way, unlike all the other things where the validators are these no-name things that don't really do anything with it other than validate, if they're merchants, they're participating in the network, and they're accepting, they're encouraging adoption. They're really vested in the network itself. So that's who the validators are going to be for our blockchain.
Yeah, and once we iron out all the little ins and outs of that, we'll put it on our roadmap on the website.
I don't think the blockchain's mentioned at all on the roadmap right now.
Not
well, because we were moving towards a just becoming a validator on Binance, and I'm not opposed to that, but Binance's gas fees vary wildly.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
So here's the thing. Or let's say a gas fee is $1.50, which is fine. If you're stateside or in Britain or something like that, you can pay the $1.50. But it precludes third world countries, you're talking South America, Africa, where that $1.50 is more than their whole transaction. A penny. There's some countries where our penny would be the whole transaction. So even if your gas fee is a penny, that's basically doubling the amount of wealth that they're moving around. If you want to do things like allow them to do small transactions, buy a book, or things like just small transactions, you could. And the idea of Binance charging even $1.50 for gas is cost prohibitive. You can't do it. You can't charge $1.50 for just gas to institute a transaction in some of these third world countries. It's their exchange rate is too skewed. That's what they make in a day.
Yeah.
You can't charge that in gas. And so in order to roll out and truly be, first off, for those that are stateside, if you're paying a tenth of a penny, you're like, hey, that's a pretty awesome gas.
It's like a no-brainer.
That's like,
okay, let's
badass, right? My gas is tenth of a penny to do
$1
the
million
transaction.
and costs a tenth of a penny.
Yeah, but for the what it does is it paves the road for us to go to places where none of the other blockchains can. And I really want to service them. I think anybody across the world should have a chance to move a certain portion of Anubits for a very, very low cost. Mm-hmm. And that's the vision I have for Anubit. Anyone staying on any of these tokens that exist on Binance Smart Chain, if they want to service those areas, they have to do that. And because their validators are always just, the only way the validators can make money is through gas fees, basically. They charge too much because they want profits. Since our validators are going to be members of the merchant network that live in the ecosystem and they can make money as a merchant as well, that's not their vested interest is transactions.
And they increase the validator as the validator network increases that offsets the need to have those high transaction fees because you have a lot more validators participating.
So unfortunately we've been launching test nets behind the scenes. We've been doing something called forking. Mm-hmm. And forking is just copying.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Forking's copying.
It's like Pulse Chain is.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't know how long it takes. Maybe, you know what? That's why Pulse Chain hasn't come out, because they're copying the files and they're copying it. It's taking a long time to copy the file. They probably are doing it one file at a time. So they're getting one file, copying it. I don't think they figured out that you can copy all the files. We should call them and tell them to hold down
Control A. So we're not going to do it from scratch.
Yeah, we're going to fork it.
But you are going to have to, as the lead, you're going to have to learn Go.
I got to learn Go.
Yeah,
I got to learn some Go because we want to make some KYC modifications to that fork. We're probably going to fork it and then start our own fork off. There's other people can fork off of us.
We're looking at Ethereum on their upgrade is actually really good. You can play with all the now that Ethereum's proof of stake, everything's working really good. We get to kind of look at how the dust is settled. Mm-hmm. It's ready for sharding, which is very, very nice. That's where we're eyeballing hardcore. Mm-hmm. You can change the variables. There's no reason why Ethereum has to be so expensive. No. But some of the bigger questions is we'll have a base token on that the merchants have to hold. Mm-hmm. We'll also have our Anubit, wrapped Anubits on that basically has reflection and that's where transactions will be happening is on the wrapped Anubit on that blockchain. And for the base token, I guess my question is, should the base token be kind of pegged? Or we were looking, because BNB, if you look, I'll show you guys. When you're looking at base coins, let me go to browser view. All right, I'm going to go to, what? Let's go to good old CoinMarketCap. Hey, CoinMarketCap. If you go to BNB, which is a base coin or base, it's actually a coin, you'll see that BNB has a max supply of 200 million. So it's capped. Even though BNB is a fork off of Ethereum, there's different things you can do. If you go to Ethereum, you see Ethereum originally as a proof of work model, unlike Bitcoin, has no max supply. So that's one of the first things. That does have huge ramifications. There's a potentially unlimited amount of Ethereum that can be minted and made in the ecosystem, which I think is fine if it's pegged to something.
If it's pegged to something.
This is why I don't like Ethereum, is it's not pegged to something. The price is unlimited and the max supply is unlimited. for me, the economics there's a disrupt there in logic. But we're going to be evaluating those type of things that are decisions. I like the idea of maybe just pegging it to. We could peg to different things, but we could peg it to $1. So each unit, I want it to be 100% backed.
Mm-hmm.
So if we issue 10,000 of them, they're pegged to $1. You have $10,000 in the bank. They're full reserve.
Yeah.
So we like those type of. Okay, we had this whole discussion about the way we operate. Let me go to main camera view. There's operating in what I consider the white. There's operating in the gray area in the middle. And then there's operating in the black, which is where most of crypto operates. And we tend to lean in heavily into the white. And in terms of the crypto sphere compared to our peers, it really holds us back. Because other tokens just launch in the black, they do the black, they rug pull, but they make tons of freaking money because they hype, they sell things they have no intention, they don't spend money trying to create growth naturally. They don't care. And that's not how we operate. We don't do that. And we tend to do the extreme other side of things. Operate in the white, do everything on the up and up. Marketing wise, we don't usually do even the gray stuff where it's like you phrasing things. I consider the gray to be truthful but somewhat misleading in the sense that you're misrepresenting things, or it's technically accurate but it omits a bunch of stuff. And it doesn't feel good to do that, but coins that do the gray area really well, like, don't miss this opportunity, all that FOMO stuff. Some of that stuff just makes me feel dirty, but I know it works because crypto's so little about like what you actually stand for and all about what you say you stand for. It's all about what you hype. And so in order to compete, the marketing team's going to have to go a little gray on some things, just because we have to. We owe it to you guys. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to Anubit to stand above the peers. And if they're all doing that, if they all sound up here but deliver down here, and then we sound down here but deliver up here, it doesn't do anyone any good. So it's like,
doesn't make sense.
That was a whole discussion with the marketing team. Like okay, we're gonna have to get our hands a little dirty on this, and we have to. The hype is what people buy when it comes to crypto. The average consumer can't peel back the curtain to look underneath to see. They don't have the time, effort, or knowledge. They to really decide. Oh, this is a gem. This is gold. They don't. It took a long time for us to be able to figure out what's a good crypto versus a bad crypto. Yeah. When we were looking at what we wanted to make, it all looked like. When I first heard about crypto, I thought Dogecoin is the shit.
Yeah.
Right? Dogecoin, it's totally decentralized and this and that. It's awesome. And then we're looking at the token itself. I'm like, bro, is it just me, or is this the most vanilla thing you've ever seen?
Pathetic.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the most
has
basic.
No protections. Has nothing.
This is so basic.
The only thing that keeps it alive is its hype.
That's it.
That's it. There's nothing.
No value. It's
no value. I can't find a use for it.
So, in some ways, you're gonna see a look of disgust on my face. Yeah. Because I like operating in the white. And when it comes to taking the gloves off on marketing, we're gonna have to get our hands a little dirty. So I hope you guys will forgive us.
They'll forgive us when they make some money.
Well, the token price is good. We're holding it good. I think we're going to do another. There's another bump coming, but there's still, so trading is active. It's unpaused. which is, that
Good.
was the
We
first
didn't get
step.
flagged on anything. So
No,
I'm
everything's good.
You can see that flat line. It looks crazy.
So some stuff's gonna start coming through as
Yeah.
we turn on basically features that we're enabling them one at a time to basically monitor very heavily before we didn't want to just do the floodgates. So basic trading is enabled, and now they're going to start turning on, connecting the GAN. Lola is watching, but she's limited right now, just so that we're manually doing a lot of things right now. In fact, Omar, even pulling him way into this, he was like, "Dude, I don't have time," and I'm like, "You're the lead dad. This is your."
This is not coffee. It's hot chocolate.
I
don't drink coffee.
I was wondering. The thought, because he cut out coffee when you got COVID.
Yeah. After COVID, I cut off all coffee.
He couldn't taste it anyway.
Couldn't taste it. So I said, I'm just take the opportunity to cut out all coffee.
No regrets.
Oh, best thing I ever did. Never will stop drinking. I'll never start drinking coffee or any caffeine ever again.
And he has more energy than I do.
Way more. I don't need it. It doesn't work. It just makes you get bursts of energy, and for a while then
you guys put in a lot of time over the last 3 days.
Ooh, yeah, we were probably till like 2-3 in the morning.
I called him Saturday, and when I first talked to you, you were like doing work in your backyard or something.
Yeah, I was working in my backyard.
He's getting his hands dirty, literally
finishing my fence.
So and then I was like, hey, we need to have a meeting and jump all over this. And I gotta say, you and the rest of the team like freaking killed it. Adrian especially, like
Adrian, yeah.
How many hours do you think Adrian put in?
I think his whole weekend. He gave up his whole entire weekend.
Yeah,
like he was nonstop. Every time I'd call him, he was like, I could see him messing. I was messing with the servers and making sure that all that stuff was right, but he was checking the code, and I mean, we were.
You don't find people like we're so lucky.
Yeah, Adrian,
the dedication,
Anya.
like we're so. I always feel so lucky because I've experienced the opposite. Big organizations, working or Disney, where you're up on the floor, you ride the elevator, you get off, you go to your office, and my experience was that they could lay off like 90-95% of the workforce and get the same amount of work done, and the same is not true around here. Everyone is incredibly hardworking, and if we were carrying the weight for anyone around here, it would be very noticeable.
Yeah.
So everyone carries their own weight, and then usually then some, which is that's how success happens.
Yep.
So you're going to see over the next couple days they start turning on different things as they monitor. Basic trading is completely unlocked. All the holes have been plugged. Feel pretty confident.
Yeah, we're good on.
They certainly didn't rush things.
People need to understand, if there's any hackers watching, we're Santa Claus. Okay, we're Santa Claus.
We know when you. Yeah. We know when you're awake.
We know everything.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the nice things about having like these connected systems all talking.
They're nice.
And multiple systems send you any type of alert, and it's like beep.
Yeah.
So
we know we know where you're coming from, all of that stuff.
So we are looking into it. I think without any significant monetary other than time loss, monetary damages. When you have a potential point of intrusion, people trying to get in. When you alert authorities, if you do things like that, all of that goes through legal. And at this point, we're not. It's like why there's a nothing burger. We jump on things.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff is kind of a godsend, in the sense that right now, like before we put the ecosystem, before we start putting more layers on top with the user app and the merchant app and all that traffic, is great times to do this stuff. So I'm really happy about it. There have been lots of questions from the new holders, our ability to sell tokens. Where do we stand now on the limits? One of the things I asked the team to do that I think is in the queue is to override the whale limit and bump it up, and it's in the queue. I think that they've been, like, bogged down, but we're gonna be doing that. We don't want it set so restrictive. So I think it was going to go to 15.
Yeah, it's going to. I think it's set for 15.
Is it set? I think it's still set for 10.
Yeah, 10 right now.
Yeah. So look to that go up by 50%, and then they'll, as that happens, they'll ratchet it up from there.
And please advise them not to do the whole split wallet thing where they split off all those wallets or they use bots.
If the system catches bots doing any split wallet mechanics to bypass whale code, the system does like a warning thing, and then the system can go way more extreme if like Lola's straight up blacklisted a couple wallets that have done bot where we have to overwrite her, which is like, listen, that's just protections for every holder out there.
Yeah, it's not because it's just follow the rules and they'll do good. I mean, if Lola sees that that's not happening,
we've had to unblacklist people. Yeah. We've had to. What you guys don't know is behind the scenes. We've had in the last 30 days, we've had 5 to 6 different holders that have either lost or had their wallets stolen or compromised, things like that. We have helped people behind the scenes. You guys don't get to see all of it. We have been able to, in every single instance, completely recover their holdings of Anubits for them. And we have our systems 100% are working. I mean, we're able to recover lost and stolen wallets, no problem. It's been, I mean, even though it's all DeFi, we can't, if they have BNB or other tokens in their wallets, we can't do anything. But when it comes to their Anubits, everyone that we've worked with is 100% whole. Which I don't know whether their token can say that.
I don't know. I've been trying to find. I was hoping to find one that could, but I mean, I don't know. If anyone finds one, I'd love to know if they're able to do it or not.
Most recent one is I had a guy that lost, or his phone broke.
Yeah.
Right? He cracked his screen.
He
doesn't have his seed phrase, and he's exchanging his phone in to get a new one, and he's losing his phone, and he's like, the coins like are basically at this point hard locked onto that wallet, and I don't want to do a I'm like, dude, just do a transfer, man. But we were just like, here, prove your old wallet. Give us your new wallet, and we just move the coins over the new wallet. So the team, I mean, that type of stuff, I don't know anyone else is doing that for their holders.
I don't know anyone else we can just call and talk to and get on like go to one of the other tokens and send a message. I have this issue. Find one that you could do that. And I'd be surprised if you can find a token where there's actually people there. And first of all, people who speak English too. I mean, there's other ones, none of them speak English. And that you can just say, hey, I have an issue with my token. Can you help me? Find one.
Yeah. We're the few, the proud, the brave.
And I'm talking about, not talking about base tokens like Binance. You'll eventually get a reply. But smaller tokens like us, I mean, I don't think Doge doesn't even have it.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. So look for those things. Look for. I don't know if the blockchain will fall. I know Anubit will be on the private blockchain. Yeah. I don't know what. We may do some things.
We'll allow other tokens as long as they're full KYC verified, 100% doxed. You'll be able to get on our new blockchain, but it's not just going to be like, I woke up tomorrow and popped out a token. No, they'll have to put some.
The other thing is, on a logistics level, when it comes to companies and things like that, we're based out of the United States, and if we're going to launch our own blockchain, it'll probably be under a different company, maybe not based out of the United States. I would love to be based out of the United States.
Yeah.
there's some unfortunate things related to that. It becomes there's all these barriers for crypto that are totally just contrived bullshit.
Yeah.
And they're completely unnecessary. And one of those barriers is bank accounts. If you're in the United States, you've got legislation, you've got restrictions, you got other people that if are U.S. based don't even want to deal with you because you're like kryptonite.
Try getting a bank with anything having to do with crypto.
Holy
Just
crap!
You say crypto.
If you're based out, there's a reason FTX was based out of the Bahamas.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't because he was being
Well,
shady.
yeah, he was being shady as hell.
They were based out of the Bahamas because that's the only place they could.
Green pastures that are more favorable, whereas it's like, man, it's really hard. Right now, ZPS is based out of the U.S. And Anubit is based out of the U.S. If we launch our own blockchain, either it's under ZPS, which is out of the U.S., or there's a new company that's formed that launches that blockchain, and Anubit will be invited on. As the premier currency token. Right. And if we were to ever invite anyone else on that blockchain, we would only do it full KYC. I want activity, not that it has to be public knowledge. I don't necessarily want that at all. But
I think we're going to allow tiny transactions to be
un-KYC.
but
over a certain threshold of transactions
thresholds
will have to be full KYC. That way there's no... Like, I don't want to build a network for criminal activity at all. We want legitimate transactions.
Yeah, no Silk Road bullshit.
Yeah. So, that's what we see. You guys agree or disagree? If you guys have any questions, you guys have concerns, thoughts, if there's little choices where you're like, hey, let me send the team a message and nudge them in this direction. I can tell you, there's been nudges that we've received in the last 6 months that have absolutely impacted our decision making. Sometimes no. Sometimes we're like, sorry, no, we're going this way for these reasons and we're dead set. Other ways we're like, hey, that's a pretty good freaking idea.
We listen. If you can, we listen. We adapt.
So if you guys have any questions, concerns, now's your time. You can also send things over Telegram. We are in it daily. Weekends are a little thin.
And you'll be gone tomorrow.
I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be on as little as possible. I'm bringing a laptop with me with a secure connection to the office, remote desktop connection, all that kind of good stuff. But my plan is to be snorkeling, horseback riding. I don't know if we're doing jet ski, but we're going whale watching. We're going to go on, dinner sailboat stuff. I do want to go out to Molokini and there's a volcano in the middle of the ocean.
And he's doing it super cheap. You guys wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm shrewd.
Yeah. It's not like, it's crazy.
We're staying in a condo that isn't right on the ocean. Last time I went, it was like $600 a night. It was a little expensive. And this time we're spending in a condo, so we're going to do a lot of our own cooking. It's going to be cool. So, and yeah, the flight, I got a flight, $75 each way. So it was like,
See, we're thrifty. We're not. we're not like that fucking crazy hair fucker that's spending all kinds of money on stupid shit.
Whose bail was set at $250 million.
$250 million, and it's just like,
yeah, mostly given away to politicians.
Stupid.
Did you hear that the FTX is demanding their donations back?
Oh yeah.
I don't know I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't know. They get away with a lot of stuff.
So we're gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for your patience. As you see messages in Telegram, asking questions. This hopefully arms you guys with information. Obviously, it's too much to just type out. Look for website updates. If it doesn't say at the top,
all our major messages are at the top of the website. Anything that we really want to tell her, just check the message.
Like warning stuff or like urgent stuff is all comes in as a banner at the top.
Yeah.
But we are going to be including the blockchain stuff.
Yeah.
It appears that is the direction we're going, and it's the only solution that paves the way for what we want to accomplish, which is being a true currency that is used transactionally for even low cost transactions. Buying a Tesla or something like that, you don't care if you pay a couple bucks in gas.
Right.
Even if you're on Ethereum, right, with Dogecoin or something, you're like, oh, it cost me $30 in gas fees, whatever. But if you're doing, if you're buying a hot dog, it's got to be cheap. Especially if you're buying if you're buying a bike in Africa, the cost better be, to do the transaction has to be super low. So anyway, guys, we'll be available on Telegram. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for sticking around for the